What's going on, Met fans? It's Ray and Dan here for another New York Mets post game. Again, right off the bat, if you're enjoying this content, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a like, and check out that question over on YouTube because I want to get to the results of it. What is your confidence level in this team? And Dan, I will start off first. Right now, the way this team is playing is disgraceful, for lack of a better term. And a lot of people want to go after, it's Paul Blackburn, it's the pitching staff. No, we can't score runs. A team that is supposed to be amongst the best in the major leagues has a 1-5 who can't hit with runners in scoring position. It's been an issue since early April, and we can't sit here and say, I'm done with the argument that, Ray, it's only June. BS. It's not only June. We are in a tight division, and how many times do we need to be reminded of what happened just 2 years ago? We lost the division by 1 game and got our rear ends handed to us by San Diego. Every game matters when you're in a division like ours, where it's a half game, 1 game, a game and a half out. It's just unacceptable. And I don't want, these guys to lose to the Pittsburgh freaking Pirates the way that we are is so unacceptable. We can't win. And I'll go right back to your tweet over on X. The Mets are 3-12 over their last 15 and have scored 2 or fewer runs in 8 of the 13 games. Simply unacceptable. And I'm not giving up on this team, but the most infuriating aspect is David Stearns knows. He knows we need to make a move. Not enough of this in-house BS. These guys are not good. Blackburn, not good. Vientos, being Vientos, nothing's changed since he's come back. The bottom of the lineup is a light-hitting lineup, except for Brett Beatty, who's one of the only teams that guys that give a crap on this team right now, who's battling, getting full counts, working walks, hitting line drives. Yes, Soto had a couple hard hits. I'm not getting on him. Him and Beatty are the only ones producing anything right now. It's so infuriating. 2 runs against the Pirates, and you're not even facing Paul Skeens. And I get, well, Ray, look at the pitchers that they're facing. Yesterday, it's a good pitch. I don't want to hear the excuses. We're supposed to be competing with the likes of the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Philadelphia Phillies. Their lineups don't get shut out and put down by mediocre to slightly above average pitching. It's the same thing since the beginning of the year, and it's going to be what's cost us the division if that ends up happening. We can't hit with runners in scoring position. They got to get an RBI producer in here. I know Jesse Winker is going to be starting his rehab assignment either today or tomorrow. I don't know if he's the answer. I'm never a believer in him, but I think they need to get somebody else in center field. They need to get a legitimate veteran in here, but we've been screaming about this for what feels to be 2 or 3 weeks, and David Stearns is simply sitting on his hands and saying, we're not going to bring up any bats, right? We're going to bring up every single major league pitcher known to man, but guys like Jet Williams, who probably have earned it in AA with a 900-plus OPS, we're not going to give him a shot. We're not going to bring up the Gilberts. We're not going to bring up anybody. We're going to bring up the Jared Youngs, the retread, failed major league player. Those are the types of guys. Mauricio, you have too many guys that are hot and cold. It's okay to have 1, maybe 2 young guys in this lineup, but Vientos has 1 year of experience on this roster. Beatty has less than 1 year. Mauricio, less than 1 year. We went with the Acuñas. He can't hit. It's the same thing over and over. We need the proven commodity, the RBI producer, a guy like Eugene Suarez over at third base. I'm done with the musical chairs. It is June 28th. And how many games off the top of your head right now could you think of that we've lost because our offense has no-showed in unacceptable situations? It's way too many to count. We're at the bottom of the league when it comes to runners in scoring position. I'm sick of trying to make excuses for this team on a daily basis. It is beyond infuriating at this point.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Right. Good evening. Thank you for that opening, too. As we speak, we talked about it right before we went live. the media had to be held up to get into the locker room tonight in Pittsburgh because the Mets were holding a team meeting. It took until June 28th, but it happened. People have been calling for it, saying it should have happened a long time ago. This team is feeling the heat. And as a fan, you sit back and say, all right, this team has clearly not played good. Is this rock bottom? I do think this is rock bottom for 2025. This has not been good. You have everybody struggling across the board. You have Mendy getting thrown out of games. You know, he has to protect his players, which he said after the game, and I do respect that. But you need better production on the field. Like, that can only fire people up so much. And this is what we're running into. We have guys who are injured. We have guys in AAA who are on rehab and trying to work themselves back, just who even are unhealthy, and guys like Alvarez too. It's all across the board. This Mets team is scattered everywhere. And I want to be positive. I want to get up here and try to have some semblance of something to look forward to. But right now it's tough. You're losing games to the Pirates, team that you should really be beating. So it questions a lot of things going on. I think Chavez needs to be under a microscope right now. The hitting philosophy clearly is off. You could tell as soon as first pitch, these guys just are behind. And I do want to point out some positives, like Pete, two hits today. Same thing with Nimmo. Had the double, had the RBI. Lindor with the double, the RBI from Nimmo. Soto continues to produce and with a nice double play as well. But overall, awful game. Like, I can't make light of that. So, yeah, I agree with you, Ray. You got to bring in somebody at the deadline. That's what we've been saying here on this platform, what feels like for a couple weeks now. So something's got to change.
So I'm going to spotlight two players. And I know people are going to say I'm acting negative, but I don't care at this point. Entering today, the month of June, Lindor, 211, 641 OPS the month of June. Simple. And they talked about it on the broadcast. Well, the Mets go as Lindor goes. That can't happen with the payroll that we have. You have Juan Soto in this lineup. You have Brandon Nimmo hitting in front of him most of the night. I hate the change, by the way. I don't care if there's a lefty on the mound. Sometimes guys like to show up to the ballpark and know where they're going to be slotted. We've heard that so many times, Dan. I don't care about the lefty-righty thing. Vientos didn't hit before he came back, and he's not hitting after he came back. But here's a giant spotlight for us. 62 at-bats, Tyron Taylor this month. 177, 506 OPS. Think about that. 177. His on-base percentage after tonight is under 230. Amongst the worst in Major League Baseball. Now, I agree, he's a solid fourth outfielder, but he is getting exposed at the bottom of this lineup. It's something that we see every single day. Beatty, 1 for 3. He's been hitting. But Tyron Taylor, 0 for 4. Coming up in big spots. Yes, he hit a line drive up the middle right at somebody, but that's what bad players do. Bad hitters hit it right at guys consistently. Vientos, 1 for 5. Now he's coming back off injury, so you want to cut him some slack? Cut him some slack in the 8-hole, in the 7-hole, not in the 2-hole. You know he's not a 2-hole guy. He doesn't have any wheels. He lacks contact. And your 2-hole guy between Soto, and I understand they're saying, well, we're putting Vientos in the 2-hole. We want him to get better pitches. Too bad. Brandon Nimmo's been one of the best 2-hitters in MLB baseball since you put him there. Why are you screwing with that? Why? Why would you mess around with that? Leave him where it be. Allow him to get on base and set the table for Soto, Alonso, and then maybe Vientos after Alonso. The Mets have gotten too cute too many times. They're getting cute, Dan. You have a veteran lineup up front. Stop messing around with that. Your 1 through 4, we always said, that should be set. Nimmo, Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, Alonso. Everything after that you could change. But leave that 1 through 4. What has Mark Vientos done this year? I don't care what he did last year. So many fans are, well, what did he do last year for us? I don't care what Mark Vientos did last year for us. It's null and void right now. You had the end of March, April, May, and now all of June. That's over 3 months. And I know he missed time, but he's done nothing before he got hurt. Everybody's worried about that. Let him earn that 2 spot back. What is up with we're just going to throw him in the 2 hole? So he comes up in important situations when guys finally get on. He cannot produce. I don't care Juan Soto's behind him. I don't understand that. And that's where I get on Carlos Mendoza. I appreciate him standing up for his players today. It's about time he got out there and got wrong. Hopefully that was going to maybe wake up this team a little bit. Instead, what do? They go get shellacked. Their pitching gets shellacked and they don't score another run. Like something we've been saying all year long, Dan, regardless of where we are in the standings, something is missing with this team. It's almost like they're leaderless. Now, we'll see what happens after this players-only meeting, but that's all it is. Until I see other results, I don't care they have a players-only meeting. Jose Iglesias is not walking through that door. JD Martinez is not walking through that door. I don't know what's going to come out about it, but we'll get to you and we'll get to some of these comments. But I am ticked, man. It's the Pittsburgh Pirates, Dan. I mean, these are supposed to be the games you get fat on, not lose. What is it? We lost by 9. They scored how many runs yesterday? 9 yesterday and 8 today. I mean, you're 17 runs to 3 in 2 games.
Yeah, 9 today, 9 yesterday. It's been
so 18.
It's awful. 18-3 over their last 2 games. It hasn't been good, guys. And if we're going to tweak the 1 through 4, if that's what the Mets are doing, right? Because they did. It's not just something here we're bringing up, even though we have for fun. Let's live in that world for a second. Let's bat Mauricio second. Let's bat Beatty second.
Yeah, Beatty deserves it better, bro. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. Right. So let's bat McNeil second. If we're going to go to these extremes and craft different lineups, I think that's a Metcast signature. If you want the honest truth, we love doing hypothetical lineups, mixing and matching. If you're going to do that and you're Carlos Mendoza, all right, then we're right there with you. But if you're going to play a guy like Vientos, you can't bat him second again. He needs to figure it out at 6 or 7 in this lineup to lengthen out the lineup, but also for his own sanity and to make sure he gets his production up, because right now he can't hit a lick. Beatty looks like he's turned the corner. He'd probably be the next candidate to get 2 whole reps. We've seen Marte get reps there. Is what it is. I think he's established enough, but time and time again, you just get burned with these young kids, and it does raise the question, where does another bat come? Because you do need another one, and I don't think Winker's going to be the answer. I do think that it's either from within, where a promotion could be on the table for a guy, like float another name, of course, Jed Williams. I know, Ray, that's someone that I think is picking up more steam in terms of a bat that they could use. But you don't want to wait to do this. So you might have to go outside. And, that's what the trade deadline's all about. So I think Nimmo is really an X factor to this team. Where do they like him most? 2nd or 4th or 5th? And then from there, it's Beatty, Mauricio, mixing and matching with Vientos, maybe in the 2 hole, 6, 7, and just figure it out. And the trade deadline's going to be a big, big thing.
Well, I just looked it up. Brett Beatty is 8 for his into today, and he was 1 for 3 with a walk today. That's 9 for his last 21. It's not a giant sample, but at least you could say he's earned it. I mean, you go lefty there, but I'm okay with Soto going against the lefty. I don't think that's a big situation.
Move Lindor off the leadoff spot.
Start. What's up?
Move Lindor off the leadoff spot. Why don't we talk about that?
That's a sin here. I've been talking about that for a while. Make Nimmo the leadoff guy. Have him draw his walks. Maybe move Lindor to 2.
Right.
Give Lindor a shot to come up with guys on. Let's get to some of these comments really quick. Appreciate you guys coming in here. I know a lot of you guys feel the way we do. Make sure to give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying it and hanging out with us. Kai says, I am so glad I road trip to Pittsburgh for this. Lots of Mets fans today, which we saw. Rain delay killed any momentum. Blackburn never should have gone back out. I don't think it mattered. Blackburn had, what, a 32-minute rain delay?
Whoa, no, hour and a half.
Oh, an hour and a half?
You cannot send him
He's
back
going to get
out
rocked.
there.
Blackburn stinks.
I know, but you can't send him back out there after not pitching.
I think a lot of the thinking is you used your long guy in Tidwell already. This bullpen has gotten shellacked over the last few weeks.
So that's where you have to dip into the rotation and say, all right, a guy's going to have to go on an extra day of rest, or Budo, you're getting the start tonight.
Or actually call up McLean and give him a spot start.
Right.
Someone who's absolutely deserved it.
Yeah.
Oh, and for anybody, look, I know everybody's like, oh, on the trade Brandon Sprro train. Go look at his last few starts. He's been getting better and better and better. And I posted it earlier today. Brandon Sprro today down in AAA. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 6 Ks. Pretty damn good. So he's starting to come around. And remember, AAA is built for hitters. It just is. The ball's different. The balls travel different. That's why guys like Alvarez go down there. And today, his first hit is a 3-run home run. Acuna has 1,000 OPS because it's built for hitters AAA. So when you have pitchers dominating the way McLean is and Sprro has lately, those are huge pluses. And the Mets are so desperate for pitching. I don't understand unless the Mets are planning on making a massive move at this deadline and potentially moving one of these guys. You got to keep that in the back of your head. Why is McLean not up here? Let's see. Noah McLean's game log really quick. Let's take a peek. So right now, he's got 76 innings pitched down in the minors. 2.25 ERA with 75 strikeouts. And he's 23 or 24 now. He's 20. Doesn't list it. He's 23.
3.
I mean, what's the excuse for him not being up here?
Same
He's
age
about
as
to be 24 this month coming up.
Crazy.
Brandon Sproat's 24. What are we waiting for? I don't understand. Why is Blackburn still getting shots in this rotation, Dan?
I know.
He's gotten rocked literally outside the one start against the Dodgers. He's gotten rocked every single start. It doesn't make sense. And this is where I start to get on David Stearns. I'm a huge fan of Stearns, but he is not above criticism. He's not. Make the move. And I don't want to hear, well, he can only go 5 innings. Blackburn averages 2.5 innings a start. You're lucky to get 3. He goes 3. Everybody's like this. The last start before this, well, he had an okay outing. He settled down. Okay, he goes 4 2/3 and allows 3 runs. That's terrible. That's almost a 9 ERA, 8.9 ERA. I don't want to hear it. Juice his fan base up because what they're doing, Dan, is not working. Guma says everyone acting like Cannon getting hurt, no big deal because we're gonna be fine with a month. With a month is out of their mind. How we get through a month? I agree. The Canning injury is pretty big. It's not a small one. He's pitching like a damn good starter, a little bit up and down lately, but he's an innings eater and he's experienced. Something we're gonna miss. Go ahead.
I have the audio from SNY if we want to.
Sure.
It's Nimmo talking about the players meeting. So Nimmo's been one of the players that has shown up over this down stretch. Here's what he had to say about this pitchers and hitters meeting.
Brandon, why did now feel like the time for you guys as players to meet?
We're not playing well, but we've won a couple games, but we haven't been able to put it together. So
last month,
just put things out there, talk about it as a team, and move on. but we'll put it together.
So there you go.
So,
All good.
I need results. You know,
Yeah.
it's nice. Think about your job in real life. If you're not doing good at your job and your boss says, "Hey, you got to do better," it's up to you. I want the results. No one cares about your feelings. We don't. This is New York. Paying a lot of money. A lot of money for tickets and everything. We expect big things, and we expect you to be Pittsburgh, who's dead last. They're arguably the second or third worst team in all of Major League Baseball. They have one elite starter, and you get to skip him this time around.
I got to call out the fans, Ray.
Sure.
I think a lot of us are fair weather fans, and I think not saying people that watch Metcast, because odds are if you're sitting here with us talking about the Mets to the level that we do, I think it's safe to say that you love the Mets no matter what, just like us. But there's a lot of fans, quote unquote, maybe they're disguised, maybe they're Orioles fans, maybe they're Angels fans, or maybe they're Yankee fans, but they turn their back on this team very quickly. And I think I've seen too much of it to not say anything at this point. It's borderline disgusting. I think a lot of fans are better than this, but there's a younger majority of fans, and we've talked about this before, that all they know are the good times. All they know is Steve Cohen and Juan Soto and P and Lindor. Everything's great, but that's not what it always was for the Wilpon.
That's for sure.
So there's a fine line here, and I think a lot of fans have just said, "Oh, season's over."
Oh, that's ridiculous.
This is different. This is not the Mets teams of old, guys. This is a very good team, so just stay patient.
I get that take. And I get a lot of people that say that. Like, oh, the season's over. You get Frank the Tank. You know, they lose a million games. I'm just asking what I asked for, and I think it's very reasonable. I've seen the changes David Stearns has made to this team, but they've all been internally. The Jared Youngs haven't worked. What I'm asking for is, you know, what you have put out there has not worked. What is going to spark this team? Maybe it's not even a big bat. Maybe it's Jesse Winker returning. I don't know. I'm not a big believer in that, I said, but it's something different, because I don't think all of a sudden Tyron Taylor is going to turn it around and go from a 150 hitter to 270. You know, he's coming up in some big spots. You got to get a serviceable, regular player here. And I'm nervous. I don't know what type of GM David Stearns is. Is he going to swing for the fence at the deadline? Does he have permission to do that? Is he going to hold on to the prospects? I said this last show. We're going to find so much out about what type of general manager, player, baseball operations David Stearns is over the next 4 weeks. Because does he start making little moves now? Or does he try to make a big move at the deadline? Or does he say we have enough in-house like he did last year and make minor tweaks with the Staniks, the Brazabons, those types of players? It's going to be interesting to see, but we're going to find out a lot. Because last year, David Stearns, and this is one thing I've always given him praise for, he set the expectations for this team. We expect to compete for a playoff spot, saying we're going to go for the wild card. Last year, you brought in Juan Soto this year. You might lose Pete Alonso after this year. It's not something a lot of people are talking about. You might lose the king of RBIs in Major League Baseball right now to free agency. It's time to go now. Is Kodai Senga ever going to be fully healthy for a season? Or are you going to get him back this year and that's all you got? Sean Manaea is coming back off injury. Something we have to look forward to. I'm really curious. What kind of Frankie Montas do we get next? You know, a lot of those answers are going to happen. But what I'm calling for is enough of the Blackburns. Nolan McLean has done so much at AAA. He might come up and get shellacked, and we might be wrong. But at least I know it's something different. We know what Paul Blackburn is. He's not good. He's a long man in a bullpen. That's what he is. He shouldn't be a spot starter. So I'm asking for something different. And who knows? Maybe this players only meeting changes everything as it does last year, and we could all relax. I'm asking, Dan, not even to win games. We need to get competitive. We are getting our doors blown off by the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's not the Phillies. We could get angry about the Phillies, but at least compete against them. It's the Pirates. 18-3 over the first 2 games. You cannot get swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's all I'm saying.
No, and you can't. And I think it's a question now of, development amongst these young kids. How good are these prospects? Are they worth trading? Which Stearns feels like a prospect hugger at this point. It's tough to tell truthfully, but he hasn't really made
deadline,
that.
You'll find out, Dan.
Well, right. And he hasn't made that big trade yet. So you're right. This deadline we'll see. But if these prospects are good and they're worth holding on to, let's see them. So eventually I'd like to know how good Jet Williams is, how good Brandon Sprro is, because I know how good PCA is, and I'd like to have him. So at this point, it's kind of tough. But hopefully they make the right decision.
All right, here we go. Lounge says, we lack the fire and never say die attitude of last year. It's just like, meh, let's just throw in the towel here and let the top of the lineup hit some home runs tomorrow. I agree. That's something we spoke about the last month and a half. Who's got the killer instinct? I'll never forget when Alvarez first came up and he's patting his chest and screaming. I mean, Soto's like that. Soto's out there doing it. He's hitting home runs, beating his chest, trying to fire up the dugout. Pete does it every once in a while. But at the end of the day, we could say this team lacks that fiery rah-rah. I just think it's not talented below 5. It's just not, Dan. How many teams does Torrens start on? How many teams does Tyron Taylor start on? How many teams does Mauricio start on and Beatty start on? The last 2, you could argue, okay, some of the bottom teams, absolutely, they would start on them and give them a shot. But if you are going to the playoffs right now, how many playoff teams throughout MLB do any of those 4 guys start on that play consistently all the time? And again, I'm not saying you can't have Mauricio and Beatty fighting it out for third and play them through July up to the deadline. I'm not saying that because maybe Beatty is turning it around right now. But the other 3, it's automatic outs, or I want to say automatic outs, automatic low OPS. Singles. There's no pop down in the lineup. There is none. And that's what this team lacks. Too many times we have bases loaded in the bottom and Tyron Taylor's up. There's almost no shot he's getting a hit. You're praying for a walk? I'm sitting there today praying for a walk. And I said, wait a second. I can't. This is Major League Baseball. It's supposed to be the Mets, the team that's supposed to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres and the Arizona D-backs and the Cardinals and the Brewers and all these top-end teams. Not the Cardinals, but the Brewers and the Phillies and the Braves. I think when we just played the Phillies and the Braves, it showed us we have a lot to do. And whether or not we could take this lineup and build on it, and bring in some veterans to push these young guys, I think that might be the issue right now. Maybe a lot of those, like Tyron Taylor, feels comfortable, or maybe they're just not talented enough yet. Maybe it's just that. Tyron Taylor's been a 4th outfielder his whole career. Respect him as that. And every single time we've asked him to play beyond that, it's always failed. It failed last year, and it's failing now. And let's be honest. How much of a run are the Mets going to give Vientos? I think they're going to give him a crazy run. I really do. I think they're going to let him play almost every day because they're praying that out of the 3 guys, Mauricio, Beatty, or Vientos, one of those guys has to run away with the third base position. Vientos is going to be in the field. I wouldn't be shocked if it's tomorrow. I would not be.
Yeah, no. It's I think the main area is center field. I think third base, they feel fine. Center field, I think bringing in a Luis Robert, I know we've talked about it a lot at this point. It's one of the only contracts that makes sense. You have 2 $20 million contract team options in there. So, I mean, if the team doesn't want to exercise it, and you get a half season of him in 2025, you go for your run. You address center field. You move Tyron Taylor back to the spot where we all feel most comfortable. with him as the fourth outfielder. Jose Siri comes back, maybe competes for a platoon position in the outfield with Taylor, but at the end of the day, he's expendable. And you roll with that. I mean, third base is going to be what it is, and you could even make a case for catcher. Luis Torrens and Hayden Senger are both 0 for 4s most days of the week. I hate to say it. So you might have to go out and address catching too. Or just bring up Alvarez again, but there's nothing really going to guarantee that that's going to be the answer. So, yeah, it's a tough position the Mets are digging themselves into, and it's only getting worse.
Luis Roberts, the month of June, 62 at bats, almost the same as Taylor, 194. No thanks.
Right.
Dan, here's the thing. I'd rather bring in an average player than Luis Roberts. He is well below. His OPS plus is in the 60s. Think about that. He is half the average player right now. His OPS on the season, well, for the season, he's hitting 185 with a 580 OPS. It's almost dead last in baseball. Here's the swing for the fence move. And I'd be all for it. And it would cost you a lot. Probably my favorite prospect, Jet Williams. But the swing for the fence move is Byron Buxton. It just is. You have 2 swing for the fence moves that are probably going to be available to you at this deadline for the right price. Eugene Suarez, third base, a need. And Byron Buxton, center field. Suarez, a free agent after the end of this year. He's 33, will cost you less, but Buxton's having an MVP type season. And he played great last year. Now, we all know the health issues with him. They're there. Can't deny it. But you add him to center field, you have the best outfield in baseball, hands down.
Yep.
Nimmo, Buxton, Soto.
Woo!
And then maybe that's the move you make, and you reconfigure the lineup, and it's so simple, this lineup. So simple. It'd be Buxton, Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo. Best 1 through 5 in baseball. Buxton gets on at a high rate. He steals bases, causes havoc, and then you have Lindor in more of an RBI situation, and that's what I killed this team. And I called WFA the other day, and we spoke about it. Lindor comes up, and no one's ever on. Nobody. It's always he's coming up, and there's 1 or 2 outs. He needs to be. Lindor's an RBI machine. He needs to be in place to get that. Then all of a sudden, McNeil is your 6th hitter. You worry about 7, 8, 9 after the fact. If you do that, you say, okay, now I'm comfortable with the 3 guys fighting it out for third base and let the best man win, and they'll be starting in the postseason. That's how I look at that. I mean, I'm so tired of Lindor coming up. He's an RBI producer. The leadoff thing, it's nice and all. It is. Nobody's going to say it's not nice. It's nice because you can hit a leadoff home run to start a game. But after the first inning, it kills us. Because you want the top of the lineup, a guy like, he's not Jose Reyes looking to get on base, steal a bag or 2, wreak havoc. Lindor's no longer that in his career. He is a run-producing machine. Home runs, doubles, RBIs. And he's not being put in the right use, in my opinion. Maybe you feel different, Dan.
No, I think you're right. I just think it's a bigger picture question about going out and adding someone for these positions. I mean, they have to figure it out. I think there's much more avenues to bring in a pitcher than there is a bat. You know, that's just kind of the way it's shaping up, unless we believe that like Duran would be an option. But a lot of things that we're hearing doesn't sound like that'll be the case. It could be Suarez, and probably maybe Josh Naylor would be another name. But I think even like a lower budget guy that you always talk about, get me an average bat, because Lindor comes up, there's nobody on base. You know, TJ Friedel. You know, we could throw out names all day long of just
Josh Naylor's playing great. I would take him as my DH.
Yeah, needle mover guys. I think though that there's really
304 and 10 home runs.
Right. So there's going to be that, but also I think pitchers too. We've talked about Seth Lugo's. I think that could move the needle as great. It might not be a DeGrom reunion, but if you could get Lugo back in here, that could be awesome.
I had to slip that in.
So yeah, but the Orioles have two good guys too, Ryan O'Hearn and Cedric Mullins. So those can both be options for the Mets to look at. It's going to be a very busy trade deadline, probably a busier one we've seen in a long time. So excited for it.
We'll see. Let's get to some more of these comments. Goomba chimes in. Players meeting. They sound like Adrian there. You can't win.
Yo, Adrian.
Yeah, yo, Adrian. The Pirates hit them like Drango last 2 days. I don't know what that is. That's going to be an old reference from Goomba. LFGM, one of my good buddies over on X, reposted the stream. Thank you, brother. Appreciate the support as always. Goomba's following up. All of the teams would have brought up young pitchers throwing sub-3 ERA in this spot. They can't hit anyway, so really don't matter, but can't win giving up 9 runs either. Screwed on both sides. I agree. The Mets starting pitching has been great to start the year. These last 3 weeks, they're amongst the worst in Major League Baseball. That just is awful. What it is. Soto can't fix the rest of the offense. So sure, why not? So sure, why would people think that? I don't know. Soto's hitting home runs. He's getting on base. He's gotten hits in like every single game. He's already got an on-base streak going.
People are idiots.
Stan says on Facebook, thanks for checking in, Stan. Be sure to like us over on Facebook and subscribe if you're really enjoying the content. Look, Blackburn needs to get released. Bring up McLean or Tung. Give them a shot. Tung, I'd be willing to bet a lot of money he does not come up this year.
Nope.
Throw 3 straight no-hitters. He ain't coming up.
No.
Bruce says, where have the Mets gone? I don't know. This team had swag just a few weeks ago. I don't get it. It is the Pirates. Klub says this team's trying to get us to snap, and it's working. Trash pitching, trash offense. Robbie follows up from Facebook. Vientos needs to go back to AAA, just like Alvarez needs development. Runners in scoring position getting worse. Second lowest in majors. That is a brutal embarrassment. How do you have Pete Alonso, one of the top RBI guys in all of baseball, Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, and you're there? You are amongst the Miami Marlins, the Colorado Rockies, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the St. Louis Cardinals? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. It's incredible.
There's no excuse. There's no excuse. And this team has World Series expectations, aspirations. You question it every single day as a fan. You sit here and say, what am I watching? But I keep trying to remind people on X. I keep getting pushed back. This team is going to have to go through those valleys. It happens to every single team. It's not just a Mets thing, guys. Like, I just don't, you get it, Ray. I don't got to tell you this, but it happens.
It's not easy, man. It's not easy. It's frustrating. You know what it is? It's frustrating more than anything because you see the talent on this team and it's not performing, and the injuries. I mean, nobody cares that you have injuries. That's one thing I've learned. Following sports, running a big Nets broadcast when Kevin Durant and Kyrie and stuff was going down, and same with the Jets when Rodgers went down. Nobody pities you. No one cares when you have injuries. Well, let's be real. Think about the injuries we've had this year. Literally, every single player outside of David Peterson in our rotation's been hurt. Manaea, Senga, Montas, now Canning. Peterson's supposed to be. He's the only guy in there. That's your starting 5, right? Clay Holmes, you want to say that? Okay. He's your 6th guy or he's in that mix. But 4 of your expected starters have – 2 of them haven't even thrown one's thrown 1 start. The other one hasn't even thrown an inning yet this year. And now who knows when Senga's coming back. We'll get to a few more of these comments before we call it a night. Thanks so much for sticking around, guys. I'll try to get to as many comments as you can. If you haven't noticed, We're only reading when we have a crazy room like this and this many people on the live stream. We only read comments from YouTube. It's just easier with our sync. I see everybody commenting on Instagram. Thank you so much for chiming over there and on Facebook. If you want to be guaranteed to get your comments read live on stream and with our guests, consider becoming a member or subscribing to us over on Facebook. That's where you could get locked in and guaranteed to have your comments read.
We'll do the Metcast trivia question
Sure.
of the night too. And look out for other things too in the future. Like we might be doing opportunities like, definitely some good giveaways and stuff coming up. But Metcast trivia question. The 2018 New York Mets. So I kept it pretty present for you, Ray. I wasn't going to 1970.
2018?
2018.
Okay.
The 2018 Mets wore an autographed patch of what former player? The 2018 Mets wore a autographed patch of what former player? That question is brought to you by Metcast. So there you go.
That's right. Sponsoring ourselves. Stan writes, Vientos could be a flash in the pan. Let's hope not.
Yeah.
It's going to set us back. The flash in the pans are the worst thing possible for any franchise because you think you have something there. And then what happens is you get, I'm not saying David Stearns will be this way. We're yet to see. We'll see what happens. He's got a month to make things happen. But typically when there's a flash in the pan, general managers get so focused on what could have been that they stick with it too long. Then that's what ends up happening.
All right.
Kai says Pirates have not scored 7 runs back to back since 1981. Thanks for that, Kai. Way to bring the positive vibes, buddy. Oh my gosh. Oh man. It started with the lineup. The top 4 shouldn't change. I agree with you. Glenn Roy. What a name, Glenn Roy. Appreciate you chiming in. Pirates averaging 3.3 runs a game, and we let them score 18 over 2 games. That's right. Everything seems to be. I mean, a team meeting, Dan, it can't just be about the bats. The pitching's been awful. But what are you going to do? You're going to yell at Paul Blackburn, who's not really a major league pitcher? You're going to yell at Blade Tidwell? Who are you yelling at? That's why I am surprised that David Stearns doesn't, and I'm not calling for Jonah Tung or even Brandon Sprro, who's been pitching well. Let's be honest. If I would have asked you 2 months ago, who's the first pitcher to get called up, Dan, who are you saying?
Brandon Sprro.
Without a doubt. Brandon Spro's pitched pretty damn well over his last few starts. He might get the call before McLean. He just might.
Right.
Rel, send Taylor to Korea. I think he's got a good spot on this team. I'm not going to say he doesn't. Shout out. We got a member chiming in. Joey, appreciate you chiming in as always, brother. One of our members over here on Metcast. Again, Joey always gets his questions right as soon as I see him pop up. Joey says, I don't need to say anything. Thanks, Joey. About this mess because I couldn't agree more, especially with Nimmo not batting in the 2-hole. What's not broken, leave it alone. Bro, Joey, it's all about the analytics. That's how you know when Mendoza's not making this lineup, Dan. There's no way. You listen to Mendoza talk. He's got a feel for this team. There's no way he's in there saying, you know what? Nimmo's destroying the 2-hole. Let's throw Vientos in there instead. I don't care. There's a lefty on the mound. Juan Soto is one of the best hitters in baseball against left-handers. He hits them fine. He's one of the very few guys. You might as well consider him a switch hitter at this point because that's how good he's able to handle left-handers. And Nimmo, too. Nimmo naturally against lefties goes the other way. He's still able to work the at-bat. I'd rather have Nimmo, a guy who walks, battles, last year has 7, 8, 9 pitches every at-bat, than a guy like Vientos who typically sees 3 pitches at most. And he was going down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It was nonstop. It's really infuriating because especially when you know you're throwing a guy like Paul Blackburn out there. The odds of him not giving up 5 runs is very slim. You need to put your best foot forward. Now, I know they have built-in off days. McNeil, I know some people in the comments I've seen as I'm scrolling, hey, McNeil should be in the lineup. I understand that perspective, but in my perspective, leave the top 4 if they're all going to be in there. How many times do we need to be shown? Nimmo is not an RBI machine. He is not a runs batted in type of guy. Every single time you put him in the 5 hole, it never works out. He had 2 hits today. I'll give him credit for that. But what if those 2 hits happened in front of Soto? I mean, how many times that walk that Soto got, he literally saw breaking ball after breaking ball. They don't throw him strikes. You got to get guys on. And who's the best guy outside of Soto at getting on base? It's Nimmo. At least the past has shown us that.
Right.
Maybe you feel different. Let me know, Dan.
Oh, I agree. I think he's a little bit more of a run producer than you're giving him credit. But at the end of the day, you're right. He needs to produce more.
Unless he can't be. On this team, you have Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso. He's after that.
Right.
We'll get to a couple more before we close out. Dan, any closing points?
This team needs to play better. It feels like the end for a lot of people. I see a lot of people jumping off the bandwagon and stuff. Right. It's too early for that. This season, it goes through ups and downs. I hate to sound like the homer who's just trying to be positive all the time, but you got to just remind yourself of that because it's easy for us. We could stop live streaming and say, all right, we'll pack it in. We'll talk next year. And it's been a great season for the Mets. But that's not really going to do anybody any good. So, in closing, they got to play better. They lost the series to the Pirates. It hurts, but you need to win tomorrow. You cannot get swept. So let's go Mets.
I see Lounge says Brazaban's last 4 appearances. 29.73 ERA over 3 1/3 innings, 11 earned runs, 8 walk. Bros, what's going on here? He's been overworked to all heck.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Shout out Carmine. Hope I'm saying this right. Marinaro, but Rusty Stop, the 2018 autograph patch for the Mets. So great stuff, Carmine.
Yeah, that was a good one. Our final comment comes from Zach Latham. Zach, shout out to you, brother.
Yeah.
Cohen doesn't even need to go that deep right now. They need major league hitters, and this team would be 1 or 2 in NL. You are talking 250 to 300 hitters. You know, if Jordan Beck, Joey Bart, or Tommy Edman. Yeah, I agree with you. And we've been saying that for a while. Look, I said Byron Buxton would be the home run swing, but we've said it. If you remember here, you know my thoughts on it. Go get me the next Kelly Johnson and Juan Uribe. I brought that up for weeks now. Weeks on end. And Dan, I know you agree with me.
I do.
All right, everybody, thanks so much. Smash that like button if you're enjoying this content. Consider becoming a member on YouTube or on Facebook if you want to be guaranteed to get your questions and comments read live on stream. I'm working on several guests, some more Mets beat writers on the updates. It's a little tough right now. I'm not going to be live streaming a ton over the next week. I'll try my best. I have family here for the holiday weekend from out of state staying in my house. They're staying right on the opposite side of my studio, so I can't really be doing these live streams that late at night, but I will do my best, and Dan might come to you solo a couple nights out of the week, but we'll be sure to keep bringing you as much content as possible. Our shorts over on all of our platforms, and now we're on TikTok. We just started over there, just posting some of our stuff over there, but thanks so much for sticking around. Again, consider becoming a member. As always, they need it for tomorrow. Let's go.
Mets. Come on.
Peace out, everybody.